All right, here we go. Going to kick off a walkthrough, pseudo walkthrough of the project 2AB. So I'm going to start by copying the skeleton code. Oop, wrong folder. Okay, so skeleton code, Spring 19, project 2AB, star, tier. Okay. So usually you guys are going to pull from skeleton, but I have the local copy of the repo. So I'm copying. Now I'm going to set myself up an IntelliJ project. Okay, what is this? It's from something else. All right, so make a new project from existing sources. Our usual fun. I'm going to do cx temp project 2ab. Okay, and that's that. Next, 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 next. Finish this window. Okay, project 2AB. Got bare maps. This is just the skeleton code. So I'm gonna open up the spec, get cranking away. Now I have one big advantage over you, which is that I already know the spec pretty well. So that'll be a little unrealistic, but hey, you know, close enough. So here's KD tree. So I already know how KD trees work. I made the lecture, so I do know some. I can proceed. And so what I'm gonna do is build this KD tree class. So we've already got this point class that is a getX, a getY, and a distance method. So let's go check these out. So we have a point class, getX, getY, distance, returns the square distance between 2 points. Okay, great. We also have PointSet, which is an interface that is a set of points. Okay. All right, now we're gonna keep going. So before I create KD tree, I'll first create a naive solution. So it is so that I have a slower alternative solution, a alternative. All right, no, close enough. That I can use to verify the result of the nearest method. So I'm gonna make a class called NaivePointSet, and I know how to do that. All right, new NaivePointSet. Okay, and it is supposed to implement PointSet. And there are 2 methods I need. So I need public NaivePointSet list of points, and I need public point nearest. Now both of these are overridden from the interface, so I'm just going to do that and that, and there we go. All right. So I'm going to fill in these methods, and I am not going to just show all the code, but I will talk through what I'm doing. And hopefully I'll be able to edit and overlay some kind of simplified version, because I don't want you to just copy the code. So I will hopefully replace what is on screen with something simpler. We'll see how it goes when I try and edit this. So my naive point class needs to be immutable, meaning I cannot add or remove points. Okay, so great. And so some examples. Well, this sounds like a good thing I can use as a main method. Static void mainstringargs. Okay, so here's some stuff I can do, and this code should work. Okay, good. So I gotta write some code. Well, first I'm gonna start by just this. Oh, this isn't overridden. Duh, this is a constructor. Okay, so this one right here, I'm not gonna do anything, and this one I'm just gonna return null. So now if I run this code, it's just gonna print out. Who knows? Let's see what happens. Okay, I want to figure out what this test does. So it creates 3 points. It puts them in a point set. Oh, okay, I got some problems. I got to import the libraries. So the way you guys have your stuff set up, you probably don't need to do this. So let's go to lecture code, library. No, not lecture code. Sorry, one sec. Don't worry about this. I'm just doing some setup because I don't have the libraries imported. Java lib. Okay, good. All right, now things should compile. Okay, let's run again. So this is basically how I might proceed doing an assignment. Like I read the spec. Hopefully I've read more than what I just did, but you know I've already read the whole spec. But I was looking at each line, making sure I didn't miss anything. So now at this point I get a null pointer exception. Well, no surprise since I'm just returning null. So now I need to fill in this constructor and this nearest method. And so I'm just going to say out loud what's going on. But again, I'm not going to show all the code because I don't want you just copying it from the video. So I need some kind of instance variable to store this list of points. To me, the most natural instance variable is a list of points because this is just a naive point set. So I'm going to make myself a list of points, which I'll call my points or something. And then the constructor is just going to set my points equal to points. Okay, good. Do the specs say anything about needing to make a copy? Like, do I need to worry about... Because in theory, I've just copied the reference exactly, which is maybe a little dangerous. But does the spec tell me anything about how I need to worry about this? Okay. You give me some points. I'm going to make a copy of those points. It doesn't specifically say I need to, but I'm going to do it. So I'm going to use an iterator. So I'm going to say for point p and points, myPoints.add p. And I also need to instantiate my points. So my points will be a new, I don't know, array list. Okay, and we have it. Okay, so I got array list, I got list. All right, maybe I'll make this smaller since you're not even going to be reading the code anyway. So I'm going to shrink everything, make it easier to edit. That way I can leave the window static. All right, that is, I don't have to move it around. So now at that point, I have a constructor that seems great. So now I need a nearest method. So I need to iterate through the entire list and see which one's closest. So this is just the most basic pattern. I'm going to say point p or point best equals let's say points dot get. So I'm gonna get the 0th point. That's my points. Dot get 0. So I got my I get the 0th point. I set best equal to it, and now I'm just gonna iterate through all the points. For point p and my points, if okay, so I'm gonna go to the point class. How do I compute distances? The point class has a distance method that can compute the distance between an x1 and x2, a y1, a y2. Okay, so I guess I'll use that one. Doesn't really matter, actually. Yeah, okay, I like that one. So let's see. So p. So I want double current distance is going to be. I ask the point class to compute for me the distance. Right. Point class, give me the distance, double. Okay, so going back to NaivePointSet, point.distance. Okay, so I need to get, jeez. All right, I'm a little sleepy here. So point, I need to get x1, x2, y1, y2. Okay, so we'll do p.x, x, p.y, y. Now I can't just say .x because it's private, so p.getx. And here I have p.gety. Okay, so now you can't really see exactly what I'm doing, but maybe hearing all that discussion might be helpful. All right, so point.distance. Ah, this has private access. Okay, I didn't notice that. Okay, well I'm not going to mess with that. So I guess instead what I will do is create, I don't know, a virtual point as a copy of the given point. So point virtual equals new point x comma y. All right, so now I can do the distance from p to virtual. I like that better anyway. All right, if current distance is greater than best distance, or sorry, is less than best distance, then I will say best equals p. What is best distance? I didn't set that up. Okay, so I don't care about performance. You know what I'm gonna do? Instead of best distance, I'm just gonna do point.distance. Let's see, best and virtual. All right, so at this point I have written nearest, I think. So now I'm just gonna return best. Okay, I'm gonna try running the test and see if it gives me a good result. Oh, well, I didn't print out the result. All right. So I print out the x coordinate. I should get 3.3, and over here I should get 4.4. So this is a very basic test. Okay. Good, that worked. All right, so now I'm just gonna look at my code. This code's so simple, I think I can convince myself that it works. So I start by getting the 0th point, and then I create a virtual point that corresponds to my goal. I'm gonna rename virtual to goal. This is a better name. Okay, so then for point p in my points, I calculate the distance from p to the goal. If that distance is less than the distance from best to goal, then best equals p. Okay, that seems fine. There's really no way I could mess this up, I think. So I'm done with NaivePointSet, pretty sure. I could write some JUnit tests, but it just seems so simple. I don't think I messed it up. All right, so back to the spec. I finished the first task. Great.